Peace, love, drugs, and rock and roll. The 1960s and 70s were a wild time. Some of the best artists of all time were just getting started.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love?
And after the Vietnam War had successfully polarized much of the United States, a simple music festival was planned to promote peace and love. Well, maybe not simple. Woodstock would become an idyllic hippie paradise and unmatched in cultural impact. The Woodstock Music and Arts Fair, simply known as Woodstock, went down in history as one of the best music festivals of all time. Hundreds of thousands of people converged on upstate New York for one unforgettable experience. But if you forgot it, that's okay. That's where we come in.
And it is true, their music is loud and they dress weirdly and smoke pot.
I'm Nostalgic Nick with Do You Remember? And today we're revisiting one of the best, wettest, truest counterculture music festivals of all time. If you enjoy our throwback, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. But without further ado, let's go to Woodstock. Organizing the festival. The original Woodstock Festival was held from August 15th to the 18th in 1969. It was the brainchild of four men in their 20s, highlighted by Michael Lang and Artie Kornfeld. Lang had recently organized the successful Miami Music Festival in 1968, and Kornfeld was the youngest vice president at Capitol Records. Surprisingly, the festival did not occur in Woodstock, New York, but in the neighboring town, Bethel, New York. That's because Woodstock wouldn't issue festival organizers a permit. But lucky for them and for everyone, a 49-year-old dairy farmer named Max Yasgur granted them access to his 600-acre dairy farm in Bethel. And just 1 month away from thousands of hippies swarming the upstate, Creedence Clearwater Revival, or CCR, was the first big name to sign on.
I put a spell on you.
And lent this hazy festival the credibility it needed to attract other well-known acts. Woodstock also wasn't supposed to be a free event. The festival organizers sold thousands of tickets, $18 for the 3-day pass, or $7 a day. But throngs of people just kept showing up and eventually piled over the fences and found entry wherever they could. Organizers didn't even have all the fencing up. Again, just a month past they found the land. So in a conscious decision, partly for safety, they blanketed Woodstock a free event. And additionally, hundreds of thousands more people showed up. It is assumed that 500,000 people attended Woodstock, with another 500,000 unable to reach the final Bethel destination. And getting there was kinda like the movie Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. The people, the traffic. Now, getting to the festival was quite a challenge to say the least. There were traffic jams sprawling, with some places being backed up for over 20 miles, causing police to have to divert traffic. And since the cars weren't moving, many people decided just to abandon them, right there on the side of the road or in the road. And caravans of automobile-freed individuals began marching towards the smoke.
We walked 11 miles to get to the concert.
The freeway was basically just a big parking lot. Locals were trapped in their homes because they couldn't get out of their driveways. It's reported that the Woodstock traffic log was in the top 10 worst traffic jams ever. The musicians all had to be flown in with helicopters because even limos are useless behind 200,000 Ford Mustangs and Pontiacs. But people didn't freak out having to wait undisclosed amounts of times for the talent or having to abandon their car by the exit. There was plenty of free love, nudity, and drugs to go around for all. People wandered around naked, skinny dipping in the pond was a hot commodity, and the free love was going around. I mean, you can't have rock and roll without sex, right? But even more than the sex was the drug use at Woodstock. There were smoking camps with signs pointing you in the right direction, and even the torrential rain couldn't dampen the spirits, and it rained a lot. It was nearly impossible to stay dry, camping out under large pieces of plastic. Others chose to accept the rain as God's gift to the festival, playing in the mud pit that the grounds have turned into. But the energy, above all, was peaceful. Announcers would get on the mic and politely ask the guys on the light posts to come down. The vibe was harmonious. Some credit the lack of violence to the large number of psychedelic drugs being used, and the amount of iconic images from Woodstock is vast. Some wonderful ones featuring couples who met at the festival, many of which are still together today. The images illustrate the peace, fun, and camaraderie felt by the majority of the festival goers. The dirty parts. Woodstock wasn't all peace, love, and happiness, of course. Some pretty messed up things happened too. Hundreds of people formed massive lines to use the portable toilets, but there was roughly one toilet for every 800 people. Better get in line early. And those precious toilets soon overflowed, and sewage flowed throughout the festival grounds, which created more dark brown liquidy mud. But at least Max the dairy farmer wouldn't have to fertilize his ground for several years after that. The food vendors, food for love, ran out of things to eat, which makes sense when you add in all the unexpected attendees. Some began price gouging for simple things like hot dogs, charging quadruple the price. 2 of their tents were burned down because people got upset about the long lines paired with the steep, unfair prices. Soon, a group called the Hog Farm Collective began passing out granola to the hungry festival attendees. And granola has never looked back. They also set up a tent to help out with the next problem on this list, the drug use. Let me clear that up, specifically the unintentional drug use. Some of the food being passed around was laced with, who knows what. Some got sick from drinking laced beverages.
You wouldn't believe some of the kids that come in here. They're really spaced out.
Michael Lang, the organizer, said he was very particular about everything he consumed that weekend. Good for him. He probably had a less rad time. And above all, the worst part, which kind of pales in comparison to many high-traffic tragedies. 3 people lost their lives during Woodstock. 2 from drug overdose, presumed to be heroin, and the other was unceremoniously crushed by a tractor while sleeping. Absolutely terrible. But when compared with the Travis Scott Astroworld fiasco that happened in 2021, where 8 people were crushed to death by absolutely abysmal planning and control, let's just agree to go for 0 deaths at all festivals from here on out. Deal. The artists. As we mentioned, several of the artists scheduled to perform had difficulties getting to Woodstock. While the organizers were trying to coordinate flights, they had Richie Havens take the stage, and he played for a very, very long time. He would try to stop, and they would tell him to just keep going, man, they love ya. In all, 32 musical acts performed during this iconic festival. On Friday, August 15th, the following musicians appeared: Richie Havens, Sweetwater, Bert Summer, Tim Hardin, Melanie, Arlo Guthrie, and Joan Baez. On Saturday, August 16th, things got even more exciting, highlighted by Santana, Grateful Dead, CCR, Janis Joplin, Sly and the Family Stone, The Who, and Jefferson Airplane. I mean, ridiculous. Some say the Grateful Dead's performance was the worst at the festival, but one of the band members has said that the stage was literally collapsing beneath them, and the rain was just pounding.
Mama tried to raise me better, but her bleeding eye tonight.
And if you're a Deadhead or actually were at Woodstock, please shout at me in the comments. I want to know the truth. Sunday, August 17th, welcome Joe Cocker, the band, Johnny Winter, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. The festival had to finish on Monday, August 18th because of delays and pushbacks, with performances from the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, Sha-Na-Na, and finally, Jimi Hendrix. Jimmy was the highest paid performer of the entire festival. He insisted on playing last, supposed to go on Sunday night, but delays caused the pushbacks. So Hendrix played his 2-hour-long set, one of his longest performances of his entire career, on Monday afternoon. It was legendary to say the least, and during the set, pardon my words, he absolutely destroyed the national anthem. He just shredded and stopped the world on its axis for 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Hendrix thought his performance was beautiful, and I do believe it was.
I thought it was beautiful. But then there you go.
He wasn't trying to spark controversy. He was just making history. Woodstock's legacy. Many people who attended Woodstock are still alive and have fond memories of their experience. They know it truly was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of event. Today there is a museum that promotes the history of Woodstock in Bethel, New York, called the Museum at Bethel Woods. It features 1960s history, but largely focuses on Woodstock. Duh. The original festival site is also listed on the National Register of Historic Places, so it is protected for many generations to visit and enjoy. To try and hear the faint reverberations of Hendrix's Fender Stratocaster. So let's discuss, who is your favorite artist that played Woodstock? Did you get the 1973 vinyl set that featured some incredible moments, like Sly's Medley or Hendrix's Purple Haze? Or did you not need the records because you had a faint memory of attending? Please get in the comments below and tell us all memories related to Woodstock. If you enjoyed today's throwback, consider clicking that thumbs up for us, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a memory. But from all of us here at Do You Remember, thank you very much for watching.